Lindsay, this has been one crazy show, this Austin RV Expo.
It still is. What do you mean? It's
still going on.
Look around us. This is crazy.
I imagine the listener can hear the crowd behind us, but
the funk music.
We finally got to bring in some friends that we've been trying to get on the show. Matt, how long?
We've been talking for at least a year about this.
Year and a half, and we finally did it. So we're going to introduce you to Matt, to Christy, and to Tim, and they have experience with Princess Craft, probably going back longer than I've been at Princess Craft.
Really? I didn't know
Maybe
that.
so.
Yeah, I bought mine from you guys. It'll be 2 years ago this April, right, Christy?
That
or
sounds
May?
about right, yeah.
April and May will be 2 years. And Tim, when did you buy yours?
2017.
Okay, so you've been a couple years.
That's right about when
5
I
years.
came online myself.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you... Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. That was already a talking point that is moved on from. You walked into our shop, Matt, and you had a couple guys with you, and you were checking out products, but the conversation you were having was being recorded. Because it's an experiential thing. And we're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
So,
Who's this guy in our dealership?
Yeah, who's this guy in our dealership? What's going on? This is a little bit different. It's cool, but it's different.
Well, I knew that I wanted a Lance.
Okay.
And you guys are the only Lance dealer, right? So it was a no-brainer that I'd come to
there's
Princess
lots of
Craft.
Lance dealers. We're not the only
Well,
one.
you're the only close one to me.
Oh, okay.
anyways.
All right.
There are not too many in Texas, really. It's not a brand that's available in all locations of America.
Right.
It's
Right.
a bit of a niche brand in
It
some
is.
respects.
It's a good niche brand.
I know, in a good way.
But if I were to say, if I were to introduce you, I could introduce you in two angles, and both would be spot on. You are a custom home builder, renovator.
That's
you
right.
do all things in that
General
realm.
contractor, builder.
General contractor, but the whole world might know you through one other avenue.
There's a place called YouTube.
Oh, a place
on
called
the
YouTube.
Never
interwebs.
heard of it.
What is your channel?
We call it The Build Show.
Okay.
So if you just type in The Build Show, it'll come
The Build
up.
Show.
But it's youtube.com/Matt Risinger.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about any YouTube channel
No.
that everybody has. It's a big one. You've been recognized. Just 5 minutes ago, somebody came up. You're
Right.
Matt.
It's funny how it's become that.
So you're kind of the PJ gets that too, but you have even a bigger. I mean, how many YouTube subscribers?
I'm an overnight success. 2008 we started, and we bumped along for years with just a few hundred subscribers, and then maybe a couple thousand. But we're gonna hit 1 million this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that when you get the plaque?
I got
he got one plaque already.
I got the silver plaque at 100,000.
Right.
Maybe three.
That's our goal for this year, by the way,
years ago,
Lindsay.
4 years ago now, and I think you get gold at 1 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Dang.
Now here's the crazy part though, Clint. My wife.
I was
doing
gonna say I'm about to move over because I
We're
want to hear this
shifting.
too.
I've been doing YouTube since 2008. This girl gets on YouTube a year and a half, 2 years ago now, in January. She just had her February, her 2-year anniversary.
That's right, yeah.
And she's at 150,000 subscribers.
That's
Wow.
fast.
In 2 years and a month or two.
Okay, so
Wow.
let's pivot.
But
Let's
they
introduce
haven't
you.
sent her the plaque yet, which is crazy.
I know. I think some of the things some of my podcasts are not my podcasts, but some of my videos have been a little controversial. So I don't think that YouTube has appreciated some of my
You can
commentary.
write them a strongly worded email.
Yeah.
It works for me every
Strong
time.
that it didn't
But
follow.
I think it's because you are in the medical field.
Correct.
And so that's the nature of your content. And there's almost no way to avoid stepping in it
Right.
sometime.
100%.
The last 2 years have just been such an interesting ride in terms
Right.
of getting out data and information that is reliable and trustworthy,
Right.
but also having an open-mindedness
Right.
that doesn't always go along with what is being put out there from government. And I'm not against the CDC. I'm not, but I do feel like there has been some squelching of dialogue
Right.
that I'm not sure that I completely agree with.
Right.
So I've tried to be more open-minded about some treatments and just
Right.
commentaries about COVID-19 along the way, and sometimes
Right.
that's not always well
So
received.
you met the bar on subscribers, but Google being Google, it wants you to pay a little.
Well, yeah. And so, I don't know if I'll ever get one. I don't know, but it's been really enjoyable. I've enjoyed it a lot more.
Good experience still.
It has been. Yeah. My name's Christy Risinger. I'm married to Matt, and I'm an internal medicine physician.
Okay.
And what's your channel name?
And my channel name is Your Health with Dr. Christy.
Okay.
I try to post about once a week about all things medical. I mean, obviously the majority of the last 2 years, it's been about COVID-19,
Sure.
but I'm hoping to get into more to other topics as well. And so
Right.
I do really enjoy
Yearning
it.
for more normalized times when you can talk about
please.
what you did before.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, please. So-
Very good. Very good. So obviously you're busy because you have your true careers and then you have the second life gallivanting around on YouTube. But you're a camping family and you're brought into camping in this format by
Tim Hill, who's
The
with us as
incredible
well.
Tim Hill.
The incredible Tim
Yes.
Hill.
Tim is a
Love Tim.
legend in our industry.
Oh
I
my
don't know about
goodness.
that. Oh, Matt and I have known each other since you guys moved here.
Yep,
You know,
2005.
we worked together in a lot of home building industry trade associations. But my family was always tent campers when the kids were growing up. And eventually you get to an age where tent camping is just not going to hack it anymore.
right. Maybe the back or the knees don't like it so much.
There you go. And so my wife and I began looking for some mobile camping alternative, and we looked at everything you could possibly think of.
Okay.
We traveled 60, 70 miles north, 60, 70 miles south, looked at every dealer you could think
Sounds
of.
like a far distance, but you're in Central Texas. That's
right.
That's a no big deal
That's
in
right.
every direction.
But we came to the RV show in 17
Okay.
and found you guys, liked what we saw compared to everyone else. His product that we looked at and decided on a Lance camper and love it. I'm a firm believer in it. I guess we've been on probably 30 or 40 trips in it altogether.
Nice.
Yeah. And it still looks brand new, performs brand new. Can't say enough good things about it. And when Matt was looking, he had gone through the same process. And I said,
Right.
we got a Lance. I want you to consider it. And I think he started heading down that path, and you guys decided to.
Okay, so it's neat to
Jump
hear
on
that
board.
after all those trips and miles, it's holding up and it's proven itself. But you two are builders. You see the inner workings of construction all the time.
I
That's
can
what-
imagine shopping for a camper can be kind of frustrating
It was.
as a builder when you actually understand
It
how.
was.
Yeah, and just seeing things. What were you looking for?
Well, you know what took me over to the top was I found a build video that was made at the Lance factory years ago. It's like a 10-year-old video. It's not even produced very well. But they showed the kind of inner workings of how they're actually put together, what the walls are made
Right.
from. And it got into the nerdy details that I was looking for that wasn't in the sales sheet. You know, the sales sheet is like, here's our configuration.
How much it weighs
Here's the type of
Too
refrigeration
general,
we have.
little overview.
Way too general
Right.
for me. I want to know, like, what kind of windows are you using? Are the windows different? Are the, what's different about the way it's built? And Tim kind of alluded to this, but then when I saw that video, my eyes were like, that's it. Because I'm a video guy, right? I'm a visual person.
A lot
So
of
to
us dudes are.
So to see that visual at the factory, and them, they basically make a laminate wall that has a rigid foam in the center, and then I don't know what the exterior is, fiberglass exterior, and some type of laminate on the inside,
Right.
with steel studded.
Yeah, and they also have an ASDO layer in there too, which is a
Right.
beautiful water barrier, moisture barrier.
Yes. And then you compare that to the competitors. Even, was it okay to name drop other
Yeah,
competitors?
yeah.
Right? Like even the Airstream videos, I think Airstream has a super cool aluminum shell, but then on the inside, it's standard batt insulation and kind of standard framing. Like,
Right.
it makes them
it's
easier
proven,
to
but it's
remodel.
been proven for a few generations. It hasn't really moved forward.
They haven't moved forward. And frankly, I bet they're friggin' hot. Because you got this huge exterior shell that's going to be radiating that heat to the inside, and all you've got is batt insulation,
which settles.
and isn't that great to begin with. So as a result, after watching those videos, and then some of the less cost campers out there, no disrespect for people that don't have the money for a more expensive camper. They're rolling tin cans that have some framing in them, and they're really,
Right.
it looked like they would fall apart in an accident in a heartbeat. And so it was a no-brainer once we looked at it. And what Tim and I talked about too was, we would be willing to spend more for something that would last, but you're looking at a 6-figure investment for an Airstream.
Yes.
And it's not quite half, but close to half of that for a Lance. And to me, so much more functionality, just as well, if not better built. And the slide outs and the layouts were amazing. And
Right.
we have 4 kids. And so Chris and I were trying to figure out, like, how do we sleep 4 kids? How do we make it all work? And we ended up with the 24-45, which I think is a killer model.
Right.
And if you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 kids, like
that
that
has
would be
the rear
perfect.
bunk system in the back
With 3
Right.
bunks,
With
right?
3 bunk, yeah.
Well, it has 2 bunks technically, but we've
Oh,
turned it
they're
into a
the
3
big-
bunk because the floor area underneath, which we call the submarine berth, John, our 10-year-old.
Sure.
Do they fight over who gets to sleep in the submarine berth?
You know, Chris and I were worried about it because it's only about a foot between his nose and the bed above.
Yeah, but you know,
But
But when
kids
you're a
we like to
kid, that's
cocoon.
fun. Yeah.
Wouldn't you say he does fine in there?
I think it's really that bunk bed though is very well designed because it's wider than a twin. So if you could easily put, not easily, smaller children, you
Could
could have
vary.
2 on each of the bunks. So you could
Yeah.
actually sleep all 4 there and not ever have to convert your dinette.
yeah.
But we have, 1, 1, 1. John's in the submarine, and then our large 14-year-old boy, we convert the dinette.
That's right.
So that's how we've made it work.
So we're not doing it per the kind of Lance's recommended sleeping, which is 2 on the top bunk, 2 in the middle bunk, or maybe an extra in the dining room.
Right.
But it
Right.
works awesome for us.
It really does.
So,
yeah.
Christy, I mean, they were talking about the construction and all that, and you might also, because you're always in the conversation, you hear construction talk all the time. So I'm sure you're keen to that. What was your take as the family was shopping? What really got you there with Matt?
So I have to say, I just remember these whole conversations like, what in the world? I just am not even sure I am an RVer. Like, I just can't even
Was there a history there? Any camping background?
No, I mean, no. My dad, my mom and dad, we always grew up going to, my dad has a piece of property in Bertram, and we have a small house. So whenever we would go, quote unquote, camping, we would like stay in a house. And
Right.
so, I mean, I've done some tent camping, and I told Matt that I loved it just so he'd marry me. And then after we got married,
call.
I was like,
Working so far.
I'm sorry, I really am not. That was just a total.
I
that
don't
was
ever
get
want to
you.
sleep in a tent again.
I really don't ever want to sleep on the ground. I'm so sorry.
I'm glad
so
you should work that.
And he
detail
said,
out.
it
it's
out.
all right. I'm already hooked.
Yeah,
Whatever
I
you
love
want.
it.
that
Don't worry.
dream died. But so Matt just started talking about this, and plus having Tim, my sweet friend Tim, say, and his wife Sue, and they really, really have enjoyed it. And I do enjoy exploring, but I want to be comfortable. I'm just too old now to sleep on the ground,
Yeah.
and then just to be able to have our children come along with us too, I think was important. So Matt was having these conversations. He was kept name dropping Airstream, and I was like, I'm really concerned about the six figure commitment because I just don't know. It would be terrible for us to make that commitment and then me not
Decide
enjoy it.
you don't.
Yeah,
So-
we use it like 1 week a year.
Yeah.
Like, well, that was expensive.
Right.
But we walked onto onto the lot. I saw the 2445 and I was like, this is great. I mean, we literally bought it on site.
We did. We
But
saw it
Matt
and we
had
bought
done
it.
a ton of research.
I had.
And so
That's the new market, the research market with Google, with YouTube, and
It
all
was
that.
really
It's different
helpful.
now. But
Lance
man,
has
you
a
come in
great
informed.
website.
Lance has a great website.
Yeah.
They really do.
y'all had it. It was available. I was like, I knew, and it was just at the beginning of the pandemic. And so I just kind of had a sense that these were going to start flying off.
Yeah.
Just
That's
being
right.
difficult
We bought it
to
a month or
find.
2 into the pandemic.
Yes, and so I'm so glad we did. I have absolutely loved it. I mean, I cannot tell you how much we've enjoyed it. We have gone,
But the measure of how much we loved it is how many nights we've used it
and it's very comfortable. Yeah, we've slept probably almost 60 nights in it
in 2 years.
in 2 years.
Okay,
so,
can all three of
awesome.
you just kind of just tell us what camping with the trailer, because you come from tent camping, Tim.
Right.
But what camping with the trailer has meant to you and your family. So, Tim, how about we start with you and just kind of work our way down?
Well, I think the best way to describe it is sanctuary. You go anywhere, there are very few limits to where you can go, and you have this residential sanctuary to go back into.
That's right.
It's like you said, it's nice to explore, but it's also nice to be comfortable at night.
Yeah.
Have a hot meal, have plenty of room to sleep and to bathe and clean up, and all of that makes all of the exploring bearable.
yeah.
If I had to do that with a backpack and a lightweight sleeping bag, I wouldn't do it.
There'd be fewer trips,
That's right.
fewer places.
That's right.
For sure.
Makes all the difference in the
Makes
world.
all the difference.
And I'm a big hacker. I have found ways to hack into the different.
Wait. You're in construction. You have this engineering mindset, and you bought the engineer's trailer.
He
when
did.
You got a Lance.
Yeah,
and
in fact, Tim
you
has
like
an
to
engineering
hack
degree from
things?
UT.
No kidding.
And I don't want to get into those hacks, but I do want to say that hacking the Lance has taught me how well it's made, because you
okay.
get deeply into those systems and you see, wow, these guys really thought this through. If I'm going to enhance this, I want to maintain that level of quality and engineering. So it takes a lot of thought, but it's really a testament to how well they're made.
So you've seen Lance in a way that most customers won't ever see the inside,
right.
the guts of their Lance.
Yeah, he's made quite a few mods and changes, and remodeled his camper, so to speak. Which is
you got to
awesome.
make it work for you and be perfect
It's
for
yours.
you.
Right.
So yeah,
It's yours.
yours.
Why
Yeah, totally.
Okay, and how about your family?
I think for me, being the mom of 4 kids, they're 10, 12, 14, and 16 years old. For me, it's the relational aspect of it, traveling together. And then we've just made a conscious decision that once we land in our location, the screens go away. And there's just this intentionality, and there's, which is what campers love, right? I mean, all the tent campers out there are like, duh. But you're able to do it in a way that is very inclusive, from my 16-year-old daughter to my 10-year-old boy. There are things, they're involved with the setup. They're involved with every aspect of the trip.
Christy's made a checklist with each kid and what they have to do when we leave and when we arrive.
Sure.
So
Genius.
each kid has a
Absolutely
chore.
genius.
And just seeing the United States, y'all, the United States is such a beautiful
It is.
place.
really
It's made
is.
me fall in love with America. I just can't believe
Best land
the
deal
beauty-
ever made.
the
That's for
beauty-
sure.
the beauty. We've really focused our energy and a lot of our trips on the national parks and the size of the Lance. I was just talking about this with Tim today. Our 24-footer it still allows us to get deep into the national parks and
Oh,
park.
you snuck in under that bar that is
Yeah.
that
50 foot.
24. Yeah, I mean, you can really use almost any site.
We can.
Yes.
We're
offer.
able to
Yes.
do that. You just have to plan. So and I think it works for our marriage because Matt is very mechanically minded and is able to do the mechanical aspects of it, whereas I'm the planner extraordinaire.
She's an amazing planner.
I mean, you have to be intentional about getting your campsites and things like that in advance, which makes me sad. I think the RV has just grown. RVing has just grown in popularity, and
Right.
I hear people talk about the good old days where you could just sort of roll in places and like get something.
Right.
And I think some of that has gone away, at least for a family of 6. Maybe if it's just 2 people on the road and they have a lot of
Yeah.
freedom and flexibility, but that does make me sad because that sounds really fun to just pick up
Right.
one weekend and go somewhere. But
Well, I have some level of. I take it as good news. There are more parks, private and public, opening up. They just aren't as fast
right.
as the buying public has been.
Right.
So your options, they're coming online as we speak.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I've heard
There's
of that.
more, more to be had. Where all have you been? I just
Oh my
because
gosh, so many places.
between
Oh,
the
just
2
glorious
households that we're
places.
talking to here, we're talking at well over 100 nights.
Oh yeah,
And,
our Lances
not
have
a
been
very long
everywhere.
period of time. So just some high points. Where have you been?
All right, Christy's got the
No,
list from.
Tim, you go first.
You
'cause I'm
keep a
pulling-
list on your phone?
Oh yeah, I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They've been to more national parks than we have. Our trips tend to be shorter than theirs, but we've been to the majority of the state parks in Texas.
Okay.
I think that's a big
That's a
feat.
lot.
Is that a bucket list thing? Are you going to do all of them?
Yeah, well, probably. My folks RV'd for most of. Well, once I left home, they bought an RV immediately and started RVing, and they did make every state park.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had a RV for quite some time. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what I really enjoy the most. I think their resources are well spent, and they have great fishing, great camping, great hiking, biking, in every one of the parks, and they've tried to maintain the sense of nature. As well. National parks aren't improved quite as much, so there aren't hookups like there are in state parks. But we have been to a couple in the Rockies that we really enjoyed. We've been to Big Bend,
Yes.
which is a biggie,
Yes.
I think, for most RVers. Yeah.
Cool. You got your list ready?
Well, kind of, yeah. It's funny. I really focused on the nights that we stayed in particular places.
How many
Yeah, let's
nights?
go that route. Sure.
Because Matt wanted to know about how long it would take for us to have with a family of 6, how long it would take us to
Justify
the
okay,
cost.
the hotel room for 6 people is 150,
that's an
$200 a
interesting math
night.
equation.
You are a little bit of a weirdo, but it's cool.
And we spent 40 some grand for our Lance at the time.
Okay.
I can't remember what the total cost was. I was just curious, like, how many nights would it take before, or how many years would it take
That's a neat
before we're
metric.
like, okay,
Yeah.
every night we spend on our Lance now, we're saving money over a hotel room. But I'm not even figuring in resale. Like, I fully expect in a couple of years to sell my Lance for a pretty good price and get the newest, coolest model.
Sure.
That's 2 feet longer, that has the next feature.
Well,
or
when you
whatever.
showed up at the show, you're like, do you have the latest? And of course, unfortunately, we don't.
Yeah, yeah, but we will someday.
Yeah, you could try.
Because they're
something.
so cool. Keep going, Christy. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So I remember, and everyone always told me, your first time out, there's going to be something that goes wrong. And our first 2 nights were at Garner State
I
Park.
remember this.
And we couldn't figure our refrigerator didn't work.
Yeah, we
so
couldn't
here
get
we
the
were
refrigerator.
in August in
Oh, we were
Texas at
texting
Garner
each
State
other
Park.
during this. Okay, it's all coming back to me now.
and it had just tripped, and we couldn't figure
I think
out how to turn
it was
it.
a no propane issue, and after it tries a certain number of times,
It
it
does.
turns off, and
That's
you
right.
can't restart it.
That's right.
So then I had to take the cover off in the back, and we did figure it out eventually, but not before we moved everything to our Yeti cooler and
Can
got
I
some
say,
ice.
looking back, thank you for having a real good attitude and perspective while troubleshooting on your first trip.
I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Because it was
It's
always
your first
pleasant.
trip out. You have to know you're going to have a problem.
Oh, for sure.
And
I mean, the
same with
fact-
our houses we build, right? I mean, you move into a new house, there's got to
Right.
be something that's going to go wrong.
Right.
It's a matter of
Right.
what's going to happen.
We call that commissioning.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sure.
That period where you're trying to work out all those bugs.
So, Christy, tell them some of the parks we've been to.
So, Garner State Park and Huntsville State Park are some of our favorites.
Amazing.
And
Yes.
then I'll just talk about the 2 big trips. And then one big trip that we went out to Yosemite in California.
2 weeks.
And then this past summer, we paired up with 2 other families with bumper pull trailers and went all the way up to Glacier. And
No kidding.
did like
was
Rocky
awesome.
Mountain National Park and Yellowstone and Glacier, and then came back down and did Grand Canyon. And it just blows me away, the beauty of America. And
was
then of
awesome.
course, because I'm a planner, I have summer 2022 all planned.
Where
What
are
you
you
got? What you got?
going?
And so we're going east. We're going to start at Hot Springs National Park, then go up to the St. Louis Arch. Then we're going to go to the caverns. I can't think of them right now.
Yeah, I can't think
Oh
of it either.
gosh, I'm drawing a blank. And then we'll go to
Somewhere in Georgia, right?
no
Great Smokies.
the Smoky
Smokies.
National Park. Then
Yeah.
we'll go to Congaree National Park. Then we'll go to just Atlanta, Georgia
sounds
to see, and then end at the
amazing.
coast. So
Oh
yeah,
my
that's our trip
gosh.
this summer.
And your kids
Oh
are in
my
the
gosh.
right age for this to just stick in their minds forever. Like,
Yeah.
this is incredible. I'm going to have to get with you on those dates that you're in Arkansas, because I'm heading that way this summer too. So
Be
maybe
fun
you'll
if you're
line
there.
up.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We just
That'd be
got
great.
back from there. It's really pretty. Hot Springs. Yeah, it's nice.
Never
I'm
been. I'm
looking forward
excited
to
about
that.
it. That'd be cool. And we also, this as a side note, it allowed me to upgrade my truck too, because I
That's not the worst thing in the world.
to upgrade your truck.
we're pulling our Lance now with a Chevy 2500,
Okay.
just a gas model. It works awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about upgrading to the diesel next year.
Well, there's
So we'll see.
something. There's something. You were pulling with what again? What did you start with?
Well, for a while I was pulling with a Toyota Tundra, which was
Perfectly capable.
perfectly capable, but a little underpowered, to be honest.
Right.
And
Particularly
then,
if you're going to go
If
up
you're
and down
leaving,
at
yeah.
altitude.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then we pulled it with a Suburban, for a while, just a gas,
Right.
5.7 liter Suburban. And then we upgraded our Suburban to the 6.2, which is a great engine.
Sure.
But our problem is we're overloaders, and it was not great for us. And in fact, I had an accident with my camper and my Suburban. And I don't know if I told you about this.
Which
I
is really
remember
scary.
this.
I remember.
It's really scary.
I remember
I
something.
bet.
Yeah. So
Thankfully, the children and I were not with him, but he came home and he's still. You thought about it for quite a while
I was
afterwards.
pretty white.
There was
it
a look on
very
your face.
Scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, sway. I mean, and you just mentioned sway to anyone that's had a bumper pull, and
But
they're like, "Oh,
it was
gosh.
it was my fault. That had nothing to do with the Lance or the Chevy or any of that
Okay.
stuff. I overloaded the back of the camper, and I put a really big trailer bumper hitch on the camper with 6 bikes. And I had a gas can and a generator as well. And my buddy was helping me, who's
All
pretty
behind
good.
the axle towards the rear of the trailer.
All behind the axle.
Okay.
And we were taking it up to the scales to see what the tongue weight was. And
You were going to do a safety check.
I was
Yes,
going to do a safety check.
They were.
but I knew that I was overloaded in that space. I just didn't know how overloaded.
Right.
And that's when I had an accident going.
So once it
60 miles an
started-
hour.
Yes.
I couldn't get it under control.
Oh my gosh,
That
that's
was so
terrifying.
We
scary.
slammed into a bumper or a guardrail.
Okay, so this comes back to the construction of the Lance. How did it all work out after the accident? What kind of damage and how's your trailer now?
I fixed the Lance with zip tape because
for the duration, for the time.
up until today. I still haven't done anything more than that at this
Really?
point. I probably could if I wanted to, but it's really just cosmetic damage.
What is zip tape?
The builder crowd will know it's a really good acrylic tape that sticks really well.
Oh, okay.
Just a really expensive duct tape, basically.
Was it just a hole in the Lance? Was it
I kind of crunched a little bit on my bottom right-hand side where that kind of was about the height of the guardrail.
Okay.
And I have one door that's a little messed up, my rear door. I probably need to get that fixed so
Just
I
get
can
it tuned.
basically. And then I still have one of my automatic levelers that I have to manually put down. The automatic doesn't work right now. So I need to
Those are
replace
all
that.
Very
relatively
minor.
small
Pretty
things.
minor.
You
And
can
the camping
camp.
didn't stop.
We
You
can-
took
you
it
can
straight on
camp,
out.
yeah.
It happened. It happened right before our huge summer trip.
Yeah,
And
so we
I was
took the
so
Chevy
thankful
instead, the
that-
2500.
That we could still go on our trip.
Yeah.
And
You didn't call Princess Craft and say, when can I get it in for service? And we said, in 2 years.
I didn't say that. No, I
That
didn't
was
say
right.
that.
Good news. We've hired a
fix
few
it
more
myself.
techs, so we have a few more hands on deck.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know if we'll ever fix the cosmetics, to be honest, because it's not that big a deal.
You know, that little thing would have crippled a lot of other builds.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
just
It
flat
would've.
out crippled and
100%.
totaled a lot of
100%.
other options out there.
Yeah,
But
some of those models over there that are the lighter weight ones that are lesser
Right.
built, it would have crumpled.
Yeah.
For sure. It would have been a total loss, probably.
But the crazy thing is, you could probably sell it right now with tape on it for a profit still. Because
Yeah,
right
the
now,
market's so crazy.
it's true.
I've thought about that, but I need my other one on order if I'm going to do that.
No. Keep your trailer for now. Y'all go camping in it.
I have thought about that.
You were thinking about going to the Lance factory for the while. Is that on the
yes.
books
Oh
for
my
any of
gosh.
you?
It was on the
that-
books.
So that was our trip when we went in
Spring.
March. We did it in March.
March, yeah.
And so this California trip, right? And we went right by the factory and they were closed because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
They couldn't
It
let
was
me in.
such a
they
bummer.
They were super apologetic about that. I'm really sorry, but California's COVID situation or laws or whatever, they just couldn't let me take the tour.
Aw.
Well,
So I couldn't do it. So hopefully again in the future I will take that.
It's a gorgeous
sure.
factory.
I
It
bet.
really is.
That'd be cool.
It's
I'm sure,
impressive.
I'm sure they'll call us soon and invite us out.
Maybe someday.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I think
I'd
so.
like that.
Did
Maybe
you
I
get
can
to
see
meet
my
Scott
new
over
one
there?
getting built at the factory.
well, you bought
no, I didn't.
your
He's the Lance
your
rep
trailer
over
at the
there.
show, or you saw your trailer at the show in 2017. So he probably met Scott then, because Scott's been at pretty much all of
Yeah,
our
he
shows.
was here, and he's the one that actually gave me the more technical information I was
Yes.
looking for.
He's the right guy.
nice.
And
Scott-
then we
yeah.
came to your office the next week and made the deal.
Okay.
He's worked for Lance for like over 30 years or something like
Oh, wow.
that. He knows
Really? I didn't meet
long?
him.
Yeah, he
I didn't
knows
know that.
everything Lance.
Cool.
He is the Lance guru. So you should go meet him.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe we'll go out and visit our new one getting made in a
He
couple
might have your
years
golden ticket.
at the factory.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I would like that. Yeah, we've loved it though. I mean, it's been super fun. And just to piggyback on something Christy said earlier about how comfortable it is and what a game changer to be out mountain biking or hiking or exploring and then come home, Christy said to me at one point, the thing I love about it is I get a hot shower and I've got a comfortable bed. Mm-hmm. And if you give me a hot shower and a comfortable bed, I can kind of do anything during the day. I'm totally recharged. I'm ready to go the next day.
Absolutely true.
And our shower is awesome. And even with 6 people, we've never run out of hot water. We're kind of smart about how we use it.
Yes, we were able to compare with other families on the road, and that there are just some odd, quirky, wonderful things about the Lance. Why are we not running out of water?
I don't know. I mean, we're kind of smart about
it. Has both electric and gas water heating.
That's why we run it on dual whenever we're out, and we always try and give it a few minutes between people.
And I mean, we tell them to hurry, but it's like anyway. But we never.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
And then, of course, the bedroom in the Lance that we have, the way the bed's laid out, the closet, the space on either side of the bed, it's like light years.
Yeah, the fact that I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
the fact that the bed raises up.
And you got storage underneath.
Storage underneath is big.
Just not for all your generator and your gas tank.
No, that's
for
right.
For the food, that's where I mean,
paper towels and all those things you got to take. I figured out
we can have a fully stocked Lance for a family of 6. We can go a week before we need to.
Before we got to hit a grocery store.
Before we need to hit a grocery store.
Okay.
So that is amazing.
With teenagers?
Dang. Yeah, 4 kids. I mean, you have to be strategic about packing, but I can pack that fridge full.
Yeah, I throw a Yeti cooler in the back of the truck that we fill with cold drinks for the day, soda or a water. But that fridge is packed with all our food. We don't have any other food besides that, and we're able to go a week.
That's one of my favorite things about the Lances is they seem to have storage figured out.
They do.
Way
Really
better
do.
than the other campers.
They do.
Much better thought out.
Yeah.
Even some of these big boys, like, I don't know, I had a wild hair and thought, I wonder if we should upgrade someday to like a 35-foot, gooseneck.
Right.
None of those have good layouts. They're terrible. Christy was like, I like our Lance better. I was like, I totally agree. And ours is 10 foot shorter or whatever than some.
Yeah.
And that's the language we speak at Princess Craft all the time is like, I get it. We're Texans. Bigger's better, bigger's better, bigger's better. But sometimes there's a sweet spot.
Right. I agree.
And in our kind of mid-size, lightweight, but well thought out products that we carry, the sweet spot gets hit more often.
And I think too, you would limit your ability to go deep into some of these places like a national park with a big boy like that. I just don't think they're as equipped. No. Which is, I mean, we've stayed in the private places outside the national parks, and those are amazing and so comfortable and great, and with full,
the private
water.
RV resorts.
Yes, right. It's just a different experience. It kind of depends on what you're going for, really.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if we were upgrade size, if Lance made like a 26, 27 footer, something like that, was just 2 feet bigger. Well, I think ours is currently the largest that Lance makes, 24, 45.
It might be the largest floor plan. And right now, Lance is doing the thing where they're having to make like 2 or 3 product lines at a time, so there's not the full breadth of things. So I think you're right. That's the largest that they have.
Yeah, in a couple of years, I bet they'll. 3 years from now, it'll be a different story.
They used to make a really cool toy hauler.
Oh, really?
Well.
Interesting.
But it's kind of a unicorn. It's hard to see those on the used market right now.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were pretty.
They were pretty.
Lance.
Yeah. I don't think we have kids that are dirt bikers now, but I don't think we'd ever toy haul with ours because we're not usually going with dirt bikes anywhere.
Although they just brought it up the other day, didn't they? That they would be more excited about going if they could bring their dirt bikes with them. Of course.
Well then, I'll go talk to Scott. We'll just one-off one.
Yeah, y'all put a good word in with Lance.
That's right.
Very good, very good. So if you have conversations with people now, friends, family, whatever, and they are kind of where you were before. Christy, maybe this is for you.
This is a great question.
They're where you were
for
before you had a Lance and had this experience. What's your line of speaking to them? Like,
I mean, I would say come see ours. First of all, or go to an RV show. And, I just think back in the beginning where we didn't even know if we wanted a drivable one or a bumper pull one. And I think, gosh, if I were to just recommend anything, I would just say, just get one, get something and experience it. And then you'll figure out, you'll be able to tweak it 5-10 years down the road, if that, or maybe just a year later, if you're willing. or maybe you just rent one. Do something that actually allows you to experience it.
Right.
And then I think people will understand how fun it is.
Right.
I'm trying to put it in better words than fun. That's a banned word at our house. Like when they're my kids are writing. It's just not a very descriptive word. It's very, the possibilities are endless because there's just so many places to go. It allows you to, in a relatively inexpensive way, travel with a bunch of people, like a family of 6, and you have freedom and flexibility. So I've often thought, okay, well, would we ever buy a second home? Not that we're in the market for that, but I know that that's what other people think about.
Right.
But the problem with that is that then you're constantly feeling tethered to that particular location.
Right.
So if you like to explore with your family or if just with your spouse and you want to see different places, I think it's a really exciting way to do it because you have some flexibility along the way.
Yeah.
And you can just go to the most incredible places in the United States, in my opinion. So,
And like you
Great.
said, once the screens are gone,
it's magical.
it forces everybody to hang out with each other and talk to each other.
Yeah.
And out of that comes this beautiful thing that
Right.
Yeah.
wouldn't happen otherwise.
It's been great.
I love that. And those are my best memories when I was a kid was playing board games in the pop-up camper that my parents rented, It's because we don't play board games, but when we go camping,
Right.
we're
You
there
play
and
board
we
games.
go on hikes and we find
That's
rocks
cool.
and we throw dirt at my sister and
You have
all
very
the things.
real moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
connections.
It was at least a couple of trips in before our kids even realized there was TVs in our Lance.
Oh, that's awesome.
We just
I
never
don't think
used them. We
we've
never turned
only
them
used
on.
it maybe once or twice.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. That's
Man,
it.
when it's been raining for 2 days
Right.
and everybody
It's
starts
helpful.
whining, it's
Yeah.
very
Turn on the
helpful.
TV.
I'm
No.
all about it.
Now, speaking of TVs, Tim's done the ultimate hack on his. He's got Wi-Fi on a cellular puck, right? That you hacked in.
Right.
And then you've also got Apple TV on yours. So you can pull up a Netflix, you can pull up a, whatever.
When my wife gets up in the
Perfect.
morning, she has to have a little bit of CNN fix,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
10, 15 minutes, and then she's good for the day.
That's pretty
But
awesome.
that's
So
the
you
only way
made
you
it
can do
happen.
that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he totally made it
Beautiful.
happen.
Yeah, if you want her along, give her CNN.
Give her
fix.
CNN.
And go camping.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
You know, kids need that, and they don't just need it for their teenage childhood. They need it for their future adult selves. It instills in them something that they don't get as growing up in the city.
Yep.
Right.
That's right.
And if they don't get that, then it's a part of life that they'll never get to experience.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
I think you're
have
right,
to,
yeah.
I have to bring some reality into it though too. So 2 of my children love it, and 2 of my children, I don't know, they're kind
Fight
of homebodies, and I can't figure out. I've tried different things. Like, is it that they're not as comfortable sleeping, or is it that they're leaving all their friends? So I don't want to say that it's like 100% of us don't love it 100% of the time,
Right.
but
Make
Matt
them
and
do
I-
it anyway.
Matt and
Mom
I
and
love
Dad
it.
really love it. Though.
Right.
Matt and I love it
Right.
98% of the time. So we get to call the shots.
Yes.
And right? I mean,
Yep.
what does a 14-year-old know anyway, right?
Nothing.
Well,
there
and
you
they
go.
might say
That's
and
right.
act like they don't like it, but I'm pretty sure I did that too when I was 14.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, can we go back and do that all the time? And I'm going to teach
Yeah.
my kids to do the
Sure.
same thing. I mean, it's just one of those things where they might not outwardly like it, but I bet they will very much appreciate it when they're older.
For sure.
In a time and a culture where we are consistently losing a sense of community and a sense of togetherness because of all the distractions in life, even if you're just going to go, even if you go camping with a tent, I can't express the freedom and the experiences that you'll have to just remove all of those distractions and be together as a
Right.
family.
Totally.
So whatever it takes, whether it's in a Lance or whether it's going to REI or wherever I'm getting
Yes.
a tent,
Yes.
just do it.
Oh man, I think that we could do a lot longer on this, but I've I think I need to let you travel some more, and let's get you on in a second iteration of this,
Sounds
maybe
good.
at the end of the year or in a year.
Sounds great.
And then let's talk more about experiences. Maybe even you can convince one of the kids to come on.
That'd be fun.
And we can learn a thing or two from that perspective.
There you go.
They
Good
would
idea.
love
Yes,
that.
I want to interview the kid who doesn't like it as much.
Will Risinger, they're coming after you.
So before I have us all sign off, we got you to the
Plugs.
show. Well, before plugs even, we got you out
sorry.
to the Austin RV show, and what's your experience here? Because we haven't had one of these in 2 years.
I know, weird.
So you walked into this big space, and there actually is product to see. What's your take on the RV show?
What do you think, Tim?
I don't know. I think it's as big or better than it ever has been.
Think so?
Yeah, this industry is back and vibrant and booming. And even though the manufacturers are having problems, there's no indication of it here. Yeah.
Okay.
It just seems to be
It's a good point.
as good as it has been.
Okay, and
chugging along,
You,
yeah.
you tucked your head in and out of quite a few things from our area to other dealerships and all that. You still have that eye for construction, and you still have an eye for the field. Have you felt like there's
Has anything caught your eye?
quality abound?
Yeah,
around?
the three of us really gravitated towards this really interesting kind of new category that you guys seem to have a ton of options in.
Uh-huh.
The kind of, I don't know what you call it, overlanding or adventure
Sure.
The stuff
trailers or
behind me?
whatever.
Yes.
The
The Taxas.
TAXA, which is
Uh-huh.
based in Houston.
the
Clint told me.
RKS in the corner.
The RKS was super. I mean, both of them are super cool. Like you walk into these TAXAs and you see the plywood and you see the milk crate and you see how well organized they are. You're like, oh, I think this is well made. And then like what's the RKS? Is that the brand?
RKS. Isn't that thing awesome?
The
I think
RKS,
that's
we
neat.
walked up to it and
Yeah.
immediately Tim was like, check out that axle. That thing looks beefy. I mean,
Right.
they're like, they're not cheap. These aren't like $5,000 trailers. But
Right.
man, they look like they could go anywhere.
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
really-
super well thought out.
They're really
I was impressed with that.
starting to figure out what the overlanding crowd wants and building trailers that are just mind-blowing.
Yeah, the 25-year-old Matt would have died for one
Sure,
of those. And in
sure.
fact, if I would have got one of those when we were first married when we were 27, I might have
Maybe,
got her
yeah.
to
Maybe I would have been camping with you all
more
these years.
Then we're turning 50 this year, and now we're really starting to be loving it. But we could have been turning 30 and bought one of those.
Yeah.
Lower price point a little bit, kind of super adventurous, go
Right.
anywhere.
I bet the bed is not nearly as comfortable.
bed's not as comfortable, but there's air conditioning and
And a
there's a hot shower.
I didn't need a comfortable bed when I was 30-something.
No, I didn't
the
either.
pressure points weren't the same.
No.
They weren't the same. That's a
AC
cool
and
new
shower
category.
though is always welcome, no matter your age.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole new deal. So if you're in Austin, Texas or nearby, come by and check out a giant array of those that they have at Princess Craft.
Cool. Thank you. Can we do another reminder and plug for the things that you do, where they can find you, whether it's your YouTube channels or if they want some work on their house or to build one?
Yeah, so RisingerBuild.com is our building company. Instagram, we're at RisingerBuild.
Okay.
And that's also my personal feed. So you see a little bit of our camping and our personal life in there in the weekends. I actually shot a couple videos I'll throw on Instagram today
Okay.
here
Okay.
at your booth. And then YouTube is The Build Show. And Christy,
And then for me, you can find me just by typing in my name, Christy Risinger, or typing in Your Health with Dr. Christy on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm exclusively on YouTube. I'm not as well known as my husband, Matt
You're getting there.
Risinger.
you're getting there.
But but you're out there helping. And
Yes.
that's what matters.
Yes.
For sure.
So very good. And Tim, you probably don't want to be found.
I'll be in the woods with my lance.
I can be found on any one of our multitude of job sites any given day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody, it was in that moment, mercifully enough, that my batteries ran out while we were recording at the convention center. So we got to the end of it and wow, the power shut off. But here we are at the end of the podcast, and it was such a great time to talk to them about their RV journey, what went through their minds when they were selecting RVs, what brought them to Princess Craft, the places they've been, the things that they're up to, building houses and informing the public on health matters. We have been having just a blast, a fantastic time. talking to Matt, with Christy, and with Tim. So thank you so much to them for joining us. Check out their YouTube channels, their businesses, and things like that. Go show them some love. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the RV Small Talk podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode and all other episodes at rvsmalltalk.com. Don't forget to join us at the RV Small Talk community page on Facebook. It's just RV Small Talk community group. And also, we have a YouTube channel. Just look up RV Small Talk on YouTube. So all kinds of ways to find out what we're doing, what we're up to. Check out our live feeds, both on Facebook and on YouTube on Fridays, generally at noon Central Time. And I don't know really what else to say except for let's do more of this. Let's get some more friends in here, hear some more stories, learn about some travels and some perspectives. And thank you so much again for joining us for the RV Small Talk podcast. I'm Clint, and I'm out.